Good evening and welcome to the July 14, 2020 Planning and Zoning Commission's meeting. If we can have roll call.
Messina,
Here.
Fleming,
Here.
Ingalls,
Here.
Lutrip,
Here.
Mandel,
Here.
Rumpler.
Okay, thank you. Before we continue, can everyone hear me in here, first of all? And I take it you guys can hear me out in Zoom land?
Yes.
Okay, great. Let's do the pledge, please. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands.
under God, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you.
We're a little off.
Also, just want to, Hillary, can you hear us? I saw you out there too.
Yes,
Okay.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Thank you. At this time, approval of the June 9th minutes, please.
Mr.
I move to approve the minutes for the June 9th meeting.
I have a motion. I need a second.
I'll second.
Oh, you second it? Okay, great. All in favor?
Can I speak to the motion, Mr. Chair?
Excuse me?
Can I speak to the motion?
Sure.
In here it noted, and this is what I was talking about earlier, that when we got our economic report from that the individual said that they were very surprised about the city's strong manufacturing sector.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was, the person was surprised in a very positive way, and I thought it reflected well in our community and what Hillary and the community has been doing and the council has been doing over the last 5 or 6 years for this manufacturing. It was very positive.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, we have approval of the minutes done. Any public comments at this time on anything that isn't on our agenda tonight? And I don't know if there's anyone who's doing the Zoom public comment thing.
Mr. Chairman,
Hillary?
we do have one attendee. I don't know if he's interested in speaking or not. Jake Geringer is on the line.
You look very large on the screen, Hillary.
Do I?
Yeah,
Yes,
you
I
look
bet.
good. Don't get me wrong. Hi.
I guess, Jake, if you're interested in speaking, if you want to raise your hand and then we can give you authorization, or maybe you're just tuning in.
I hear nothing, Hillary.
Yep, I think we're good.
Okay, we're good on that. And then Hillary as well, before we go on to the next item, we have some sign-ups here with us, and then you'll let us know if anyone signed it up for any of the hearings on your end.
Yes, we didn't do the online sign-up sheet, but if I get anyone online that comments or indicates they're interested, Jake said just tuning in, thanks though. So, but yes, if anyone else checks in on Zoom, then we'll let you know if they want to comment.
Okay, great. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks.
Commission comments at this time? I'll just make a quick comment. I think it was last month. I went on the tour of the Atlas Mill site with a few of the Bill Greenwood and some of his guys and staff, and I think Troy was there. And I was totally amazed at the progress they did. And when you get, and Phil from Welch Coma was there, as well as when you actually talk and walk the land and what it's going to be and see it, it's going to be an amazing, amazing park, not just for the people and handicapped people and access to the lake, but just the facility itself and what they'll have down there. The dog park, since I'm a dog owner, my dog loves to go in the water, is going to be so great because there's limited access around here for dogs, actually. And the dog park is big. It's really super. So, again, I applaud staff, Hillary, Sean, everyone that's done anything to make this park what it's going to be. It's just, it doesn't do you justice when you look at it on paper. It just does not look the same. So I'm very excited to see that happening, and so is my dog. Staff comments, Hillary?
Okay, good. Well, thank you. Mr. Chairman, and good evening, Planning Commissioner. So on that topic of Atlas, if the rest of the commissioners would like to do a tour, we could certainly schedule that. And we can, if everyone wants to do it, we can just notice that so it's available and the public knows that we're taking a tour, because it is very impressive to see all the changes that are happening.
It's a walking tour,
Right.
and you walk a lot, but it's really fantastic. I urge you to do that. Sorry.
There's also, no problem, there's also an opportunity, so a few of the commissioners attended last year that KEA Waterkeepers tour of Coeur d'Alene Lake, the north portion of the lake. And so if any commissioners are interested in doing that didn't last year, we can arrange for that and send some staff members as well. So if you want to send me an email, we'll follow up on that. For our August meeting, we'll have 3 hearings. So we'll have a special use permit request, there'll be a zone change request, and then we have a multi-part request related to the River's Edge property that also includes the city-owned former railroad right-of-way strip. So that'll be coming to you in August. And then while I have the floor, I'll give you a quick update on Envision Coeur d'Alene. So we have the Envision survey. It's live right now, and we are trying to get as many people to participate as possible. So that'll be live through at least July 24th. And to incentivize people participating, there are opportunities to win some grocery gift cards and Silverwood Day passes. It is an opportunity for the public to actually do some mapping and show where they would like to have growth take place and the type of growth. So it's building off of that game, the board game we played. And then it's also asking for input on the goals and policies and action items. So how do we get there? How do we achieve our vision for our community by the year 2040? So I encourage everyone to do that. You can get to it from either the city's website, cdaid.org, or the project website, which is envisioncda.org. So that's all I have.
And how is the response rate so far? I've through a couple different channels. Are we getting response? You mentioned
We do. It's great.
Okay.
We want to get more. We have over 500, which is excellent.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're really appreciative. CDA 2030 has been helping push the survey, and so we've been asking a lot of the different service groups and organizations throughout the community. But yes, we want more. We would love to get, if we get 1,000, that'd be even better.
So that's far better than the response rate from the earlier one.
It is way better. Yep. So that's great news. Yep. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Hillary. Appreciate it. At this time, we're going to start our public hearings. And the first one is a proposed zone change from R12 to C17, ZC2-20. And Tammy is going to give us a little presentation. Thank you. And by the way, the applicant is Tom Fisher. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Planning Commissioners. So the property owner for the requested zone change is Andrea Queen, and the applicant's rep, as Tom said, is Tom Fisher. And this is a request this evening for a zone change from R12 to the C17 zoning district. The property is located near the southeast corner of the intersection of Cardwell Drive and A Street. And this is a location map. This is Government Way, I-90 here, and this is the subject property. And this is an aerial photo, zoomed in a little more. Again, Government Way, I-90, and this is Cardwell Drive, which runs into A Street. There is currently a single family on this property along with the accessory structure, and the single family was originally built in 1960, and the pole building was constructed in 1995. This is a bird's eye view looking north at the subject property, outlined here. And for this presentation, I'll cover all 4 findings which are required for this request to change the zoning. Finding B8, that this proposal is or is not in conformance with the comprehensive plan. This is the subject property located here, which is in the transition area noted here in the legend. And it falls within the 2007 comprehensive plan under Appleway North 4th Street. And the comprehensive plan policies are noted in your staff report on pages 4, 5, and 6. Finding B9, that the public facilities and utilities are or are not available and adequate for the proposed use. City staff from engineering, streets, water, fire, wastewater departments have reviewed the application, and in regards to the public utilities and facilities, each department has indicated that there are adequate public facilities and utilities available to serve the proposed request, and there's no objection to this zone change as proposed. Finding B10, that the physical characteristics of the site do or do not make it suitable for the request at this time. And the site is generally flat, and there are no topographical issues or physical constraints that would make the subject property unsuitable for the zone change. And I've provided a few pictures of the subject property. This is looking northeast along A Street and Cardwell Drive at that intersection toward the subject property, which I mentioned there's a single-family dwelling unit currently on the site. This is a view of the subject property again along Cardwell Drive. And this is looking east toward the subject property at the accessory structure that's existing on the site. And this is looking northeast at the neighboring property abutting the subject property. And this is an existing fourplex, and I believe this is a single family. This is looking north from A Street along the frontage of the subject property. And this is Riley's Automotive, which A Street comes into the end of, street ends there with Apple Way or along the frontage of that property. And this is looking southwest along A Street toward the neighboring residence, and that's a single-family dwelling unit. Looking east along Cardwell Drive toward Government Way with I-90 on the south. So here's I-90, and this is Cardwell Drive, and then the single family is here. Finding B11, that the proposal would or would not adversely affect the surrounding neighborhood with regard to traffic, neighborhood character, and/or existing land use. The proposed zone change itself would not adversely affect the surrounding area with regard to traffic, because no traffic is generated from the zone change. And the ITE trip generation manual estimates 1.41 AM peak hour trips and 3.53 peak hour trips would be generated per 1,000 square feet for the use with that floor area. It's therefore estimated that the existing shop could generate an approximate 3 AM and 7 PM peak hour trips. Construction of a large facility could produce more trips, but the size of the parcel would limit the extent of that potential growth. And Government Way has the available capacity to accommodate the additional traffic generated from the subject site, although access in and out of Cardwell Avenue could be slightly more congested during the peak hours, and left turns could be challenging off of Government Way. So this is the land use map, and currently this is a single family dwelling unit, and this is used for single family, and a fourplex, and I believe this is a duplex, and they've got some other vacant parcels there. And as far as zoning, as you can see, this is transitioned into a commercial zoning district. This is zoned commercial, and this is the subject property. They are requesting commercial zoning. As far as zone changes in the past, this is ZC 789. That was zone changed from R12 to C17. In 1992, both parcels had a rezone from R12 to C17, and this is the subject property requesting C17. So as far as C17 description, the C17 district is intended as a broad spectrum of commercial district that permits limited service, wholesale, retail, and heavy commercial, in addition to allowing residential development at a density of 17 units per gross acre. The district should be located adjacent to arterials. However, joint access developments are encouraged. And I've included in your staff report the list shown here on the screen with a few of the principal uses that are permitted in the C17 zoning district. And I've underlined commercial recreation. The applicant has stated that there might be a possibility that they would convert that accessory structure to a gym or commercial recreation in the future. And it currently is a single-family detached housing use. I'll also mention if they decided to move forward after a zone change and convert it to a commercial use, they would have to go through a project review, be provided all of the code requirements, and bring some items up to code. This is a bird's eye view, again looking north. There are no conditions proposed with this zone change. And decision point, asking the Planning Commission a recommendation to the City Council regarding the proposed zone change for R12, or from R12 to C17 for approximately .43 acres. So, any questions for me?
Go ahead, John.
Thank you, Tammy. Great report as usual. I appreciate your presentation. In your staff report, you make the comment that the applicant has indicated that, they are potentially wanting to use this accessory structure as a gym, commercial recreation use. And that's in the applicant's narrative as well. So, as I went through this, correct me if I'm wrong, but we're not really sitting here trying to analyze this with respect to whether it's an appropriate use there for commercial recreation. Really, the matter for us is whether any commercial use that's authorized would be acceptable there, because once the zone change is approved, they could change their mind, flip it, sell the property, and once it's C17, any number of the C17 uses would be allowable, and some of those aren't maybe the same impact on the neighborhood as commercial recreation. For example, automobile repair, a boarding house, commercial kennel. So really what we're looking at is not commercial recreation, correct? We're really analyzing whether any use in C17 would be appropriate there, correct? Because it's really going to be unconstrained if approved, correct?
You're correct. So if you approve this zone change request, it is subject to all the items on the list on page 15 that could be used in the C17 zone. Keep in mind the size of the parcel. As Chris Bosley, our city engineer, mentioned, it does limit it because it is small, because you'd have to provide parking and all those other things that you would need to meet per code.
So as you have interacted with the applicant, before this has gotten this far, you have dialogue, you have meetings and discussion. Was there any discussion of them pursuing a special use permit? I mean, if what they were after is truly commercial recreation, they could get there in R12 with a special use permit that's easier and simpler, and then our decision point would be sitting here analyzing whether commercial recreation is appropriate, because if it was approved under a special use permit, that's all they could do. They couldn't change their mind later, sell the property, and it becomes a kennel or whatnot, correct?
Yeah,
Was there any discussion of it?
That's
going?
correct. We did get a phone call from the applicant's representative that they did want to pursue the zone change. And the applicant's rep can probably give you a little more background on it, but they wanted to move forward with the zone change.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. All right, thanks, Tammy.
You're welcome. Get this back to the site photo, which might help.
Okay. I have Tom Fisher on a sign-up, who is the applicant. Tom, you want to come on up? And I'll swear you in, just to make it legal. Do you swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth? So help you God.
I do.
Go ahead, Tom.
I guess questions? Do you want to ask me anything?
Well, you can either, go add to what Tammy has said, or maybe address what John came out with, if or any of the other commissioners here or on Zoom have a question for Tom, if he doesn't have anything else to say about what he's proposing he'd like to do.
Well, it was the property was donated to the Humane Society from a guy, I'm not sure if he passed but he donated it. And they wanted to sell it together, and it was kind of a hard thing to put together, but we had Andrea Queen wanted to buy that piece, and then her husband's sister ended up buying the other one, the front gun shop, if everybody remembered bright green gun shop. Well, now it's gray. So they've been in there and they've been working, the whole family cleaning. So it's kind of a family thing and just a good investment. And I advised them that if it's, I think the listing agent was starting to do a zone change, and it just makes sense where it sits. I mean, they don't have any plans on flipping anything. They're in there working and they're going to clean it up and make it a nice spot. So we went with the zone change.
Go ahead, John.
Well, my question was, I might, as I read the narrative, the applicant narrative, it says that the goal is to create this a gym or a commercial recreation type use, correct?
In just one building, in the one
Right, it's got a shop on it, and he has a gym now. He's a personal trainer, he does individual people. He's renting a place now. He figured down the road they could rehab the house, either live in the house or have a rental.
Yeah.
And then the shop, everybody wants a shop, so that'll give him the shop. If there's a way that he could do training out of there, it would be a possibility. He understands that there would be some cost to do that, to get that approved, so it's down the road a ways.
Does the applicant understand that they could get there, get to what they want to do with a special use permit, rather than a zone change?
Well, I advise them it's always better to have a commercial. I mean, who knows down the line in 10 years? Like you said, I mean, everybody's, you want to invest your money the best way you can. And in my opinion, if it was zone commercial, they don't have any plans past what they want to do, but things change. So.
Because, I mean, great, the narrative said they want to do a gym, and we really can't, we can read it and hear about it, but it's not something we can really consider. And it's kind of like, it's either C-17, or yes or no, or it's not C-17, basically, and in there C-17. And you mentioned that your applicant was thinking that he might rehab the home and live there. And this is a question for either Tammy or legal. If it's zone C-17, can someone live in that house or rent it out?
Sure.
Since the zoning is C-17, it also does allow for single-family dwelling units.
Okay.
So yes, that's correct, they can
All
live
right.
there.
So,
Just
I
seem to
mean,
give them all the options they could come
Yeah.
up with.
yeah. So,
Thank you.
okay. Any other questions for Tom? No? Hillary, do you have anyone online that wanted to make any comments?
Nope, there is no one additional on Zoom
Okay.
at this time.
Thank you. Well, at this time then, unless Tom, you have anything else to add, I'm going to close public testimony on this and bring it to the commissioners to discuss and a motion.
Mr. Chair, on
Yeah.
page 13, it shows a diagram of what the property is zoned around there. And it seems like it's enclosed by C-17. It seems that, that it's a progression of some fashion that this all ultimately will turn into C-17. I understand what John is saying about special use. That's exactly right. If you put a special use, you'd have but I think on a broader basis, over a long period of time, that this area is destined all to be C-17.
Yeah.
And it'll add a lot of value to the property. There's no doubt about that, but it'll also add a lot of, I would imagine, economic activity in the long run.
Okay. Thanks, Peter. Well, excuse me. Looking for a motion. If anyone cares to do that, Mr. Ingles.
So I'd be happy to motion for approval of this. I wanted to kick around the zone change versus special use permit, just in my mind of clarity of, again, if the only purpose,
I appreciate
if
that.
the
No.
only purpose was to get to commercial recreation, there's a maybe easier, quicker way to do it that would tie it to that. We're hearing no opposition
All right.
to it being change to commercial. As Commissioner Lutrip points out, everything surrounding it is commercial. Even the single-family house is sitting on commercial. So I think that's the transition that's embodied in the comprehensive plan discussion, that area is in transition to be commercial. So, while going zone change rather than special use opens the door for all uses, I'm not sure with all of that zone commercial anyway, that's probably okay, You're not infringing on anything but a gun shop and whatnot, so. At any rate, I would motion that this is a matter that's come before us tonight, July 14th, presented by an applicant requesting approval of ZC 2-20, a request for a special use, or request for zone change, from R12 to R17 zoning district. Applicant is Thomas W. Fisher for a .43 acre portion of a parcel located at 217 West Cardwell Drive. Motion would include findings B1 through B7, statements in our statements of fact that are laid out in our findings in order worksheet, and that we adopt a finding B8 that the proposal is in conformance with the comp plan policies, adopting all of those that are slated in our worksheet, goal 1, goal 2, goal 3 laid out there. And I would say that in particular support, as Commissioner Lutrip points out, this is an area that's kind of transitioning to commercial in there, and in doing so certainly supports the economic environment goals in the comp plan, as well as opportunities to develop within existing city footprint, and where existing city infrastructure is in place. As the staff report points out, all the utilities are available and such, rather than creating this opportunity on the fringe and adding urban sprawl. This is becomes an infill kind of opportunity. B9 that the public facilities and utilities are available. As Tammy pointed out in her staff report, water, sewer, street systems, everything is adequate there to support the project. B10, that the physical characteristics of the site are such that there's no unusual constraints of concern there. B11, that the proposal would not adversely affect the surrounding neighborhood, as most of the surrounding properties on all sides are already commercial, and it would be an appropriate fit there. And traffic can be accommodated, as was pointed out in the staff report. And so, as a conclusion, the Planning Commission, pursuant to the aforementioned, would find that the request of Thomas W. Fisher for a zone change should be approved, and there's no special conditions.
Thank you, Commissioner. I have a motion. Need a second?
Second.
I have a second. Roll call, Shannon, please.
Fleming,
Yes.
Ingalls,
Yes.
Lutrip,
Yes.
Mandel.
Yes.
Okay. Motion passes. Congratulations, Tom. All right. Next, we have SP-4-20, request for two special uses, a commercial recreation and a professional and administrative office in a manufacturing M zoning district. And Jake, you're going to give us a presentation.
Yes.
Okay.
Good evening, Commissioners. Okay, so SP-420, like you said, is a special use permit request in manufacturing for two service activities. The applicant is Ryan Bishop. The location is Commerce Park of CDA Lot 7, Block 2. And the request is for the two service uses, professional and administrative offices and commercial recreation. The reason for those two service uses are for a physical therapy office as well as a sports training / gym use. The location map, you can see the subject property outlined in red here. Schreiber Way runs along here. Aerial photo a little bit closer so you can kind of see the parking layout, as well as the buffer here at the rear of the property. Bird's eye view of the property as well. So 3 findings are required to approve the special use permit, finding B8A, B8B, and B8C. In the following slides, I'll go into a little bit more detail on each finding, starting with B8A, that this proposal is or is not in conformance with the comprehensive plan. The area that the subject property falls in, that was designated in the 2007 comprehensive plan, is the Ramsey Woodland area. The land use category is stable established. Stable established areas where the character of neighborhoods have largely been established and, in general, should be maintained. The street network, the number of building lots, and general land use are not expected to change greatly within the planning period. I listed 5 comprehensive plan objectives that pertain to this proposal, 2 community design objectives, 1 efficiency objective, a business image and diversity objective, as well as a public participation objective. Page 6 of the staff report has those comp plan objectives. Finding B8B, the design and planning of the site is or is not compatible with the location, setting, and existing uses on adjacent properties. Some uses in the vicinity of the proposed special use permit are offices, the police department, Trickster's Brewing, hardware sales, beverage distributorship, postal service, and construction services, just to name a couple. The area surrounding the subject parcel is relatively flat with slight elevation gain to the southeast. So this exhibit here shows the special use permits that have been approved in the area. You can see the subject property outlined in red here. I will mention the 6 approved uses that were approved in April under SP 320 in the vicinity of the subject property we're looking at today. The land use map, subject property outlined here. The red signifies a commercial land use. The blue is a civic land use. Gray is manufacturing, and then this cream color is vacant. So primarily commercial and civic. The yellow here is single family as well. So the zoning map, majority of the zoning around the area is manufacturing and or light manufacturing. The pink C17Ls are limited commercial zone. Red is C17R commercial, and then you have some MH8 and R17 PUD near the vicinity of the subject property. Okay, so some site photos. This is the northwest side of the property along Schreiber, facing southeast. The north corner of the property along Schreiber facing south. Standing on southeast end of the parking lot facing northwest. And then the buffer trees located at the rear of the lot facing southeast. So the last finding B8C, the location, design, and size of the proposal are such that the development will or will not be adequately served by existing streets, public facilities, and services. City staff from engineering, streets, water, fire, and wastewater departments have reviewed the application request in regards to public utilities and public facilities. City staff has indicated that there are adequate public services and facilities available. Pages 13 and 14 of the staff report have the full staff comments and conditions. We did include Chris Bosley, the city engineer's traffic comment. He put that approximately 265 trips per day would be expected if it was considered a clinic. The 265 trips would be spread over the business day. The impact will likely be a slight increase in delay exiting Schreiber Way onto Kathleen Avenue. He also noted streets and engineering has no objections to the proposed special use permit. Here we have the site plan. I will note that we worked with the applicant prior to the full application to ensure that the parking would be met should the special use permit be approved. The floor plan here as well. The front area here will be the physical therapy office. And then the back of the structure will be the gym equipment and sports training area. Oops. Let's go back. So the Planning Commission, proposed conditions. The Planning Commission may, as a condition of approval, establish reasonable requirements as conditions of approval to mitigate any impacts that would adversely affect the surrounding neighborhood. Please be specific if additional conditions are added to the motion. Out of all the staff comments, the only condition we received was from water, and it was essentially asking that any additional main extensions or fire hydrants and services will be responsibility of developer. Additional service will have cap fees due at building permits. So the action alternatives, Planning Commission will need to consider this request and make appropriate findings to approve, deny, or deny without prejudice. That concludes my presentation. I'll be here, and Tammy will be available as well to answer any questions, and I believe the applicant has a representative here as well that can answer any questions.
Any questions? Go ahead, John.
Thank you, Jake. Good report. Appreciate that. So this area up here, this whole Schreiber loop, you know, if there's one area in the city that if you put little pins in the map of special use permits, you'd find a lot of pins right in there. And I guess it was conceived as a manufacturing area, but we've approved a lot of special use permits in there. In your opinion, I mean, I don't see a lot of people in the audience that are maybe from the houses that you can see in the corner up there, the Meadow Ranch or whatnot up there. I'm guessing we don't have a lot of folks here tonight. Maybe they come in by Zoom. I don't know. We'll see. But in their interest, you know, are we kind of down zoning, if you will? You know, I mean, having a physical fitness center in there or whatever it's going to be under a special use permit seems like that is less noise and whatnot than what would be allowable under the zoning, correct? Is that your opinion? That in a way it's maybe a more compatible use if I'm living up in one of those houses. Would you share that opinion?
I would think so. You know, maybe the traffic would be more if it was a commercial use. But being in the manufacturing district, you know, having that be a special use permit activity, it just gives that option of, you know, it could be manufacturing, could be all the principal uses, but because that is an accessory use, it is kind of an interesting dichotomy that you have with the accessory versus the primary uses.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Chairman,
Yes, Hillary?
Chairman, we have Commissioner Fleming has her hand up for a question.
Okay. I
Well,
can't see it.
just to remind everyone, we approved another fitness center up on the northwest side, just below Kathleen. We approved a swimming pool, multi-use fitness center in there as well. So this is not an unusual addition. It's just sort of compatible with that same kind of physical therapy, physical use training center. So it just kind of falls into the same pattern.
Thank you, Lynn.
Yeah.
Any other comment?
Mr.
Peter?
Chair, I support this, but we're going through our study comprehensive plan and so forth. I assume that we set up a manufacturing zoning district at one time because they were going throughout the city, and we said, wouldn't it be better for our community to have them located in one place? So here it is. If you want to have manufacturing and so forth, you go there. We understand the noise and whatnot, and so it's been there. But the property owners, the businesses, so might see it a little differently. They say, you know, that might be a good idea, but I would like to use the property this way, so we have the special use. Mm-hmm. And I support this, but I also think that it points to our comprehensive plan. So we can have all these grandiose things, and we think they might fit, but when the community gets involved individually, they might view it a little differently. So it's nice to have a method in which they can address that through special use. Mm-hmm. And I would assume this will carry on to a new comp plant also, with that theory. So I am in support of this.
Okay, great. Any other comments? If not, Jake, thank you, appreciate it, good report. First one all by yourself. Ryan, I know you signed up here and you chose not to say anything. The applicant, are you the applicant, Ryan? You're over there. Nothing to add? No? No, it's okay. No problem. And then Dan Crawford? You want to come on up and you said yes, so I'll just swear you in. And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth? So help you God.
I do.
Go right ahead.
All right. I'm Don Crawford. I'm with
Sorry.
Pearl Realty,
Couldn't make it out.
and I'm working with the applicant. We've spent a significant amount of time looking at different options around the Coeur d'Alene, Hayden area for this facility, even considered building, buying raw land. This opportunity presented itself, and it's really, it's not exactly what we were looking for, but it's a pretty good fit, and it's something that'll work well for this business plan. We felt like, as we were putting together, I helped them put together the application, and as we reviewed the comprehensive plan, we felt like this supported that comprehensive plan, and in quite a few areas, we feel like the use is pretty compatible with other uses in the area. It's preventing urban sprawl, and that we're not going to go buy a piece of dirt and build a new facility. We're going to repurpose something that's already there, that's been open for a period of time. So this just kind of looks like a nice fit. We're not going to put undue stress on the streets and the other city services in the area. So we hope that this would be considered and approved, and appreciate your time.
Okay. Thank you, appreciate it. Hillary, do you have anyone on your end?
Nope, there's no one on Zoom that's
Okay.
indicated in speaking. Thanks.
All right, at this time, I'm going to close public testimony on this and bring it to commissioners to make a motion and go from there.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Lynn, appreciate it.
This matter having come before the Planning Commission on July 14th, 2020, and there being present a person requesting approval of item SP-4-20, Commercial Recreation Professional Administrative Office Special Use Permit in the M zoning district. Applicant is Brian Bishop. Location is 3896 North Schreiber Way. Firstly, our findings B1 through B7 are standard. And we'll move on to B8. Pursuant to section 17.09.220, special use permit criteria, a special use permit may be approved only if the proposal conforms to all the following criteria to the satisfaction of the Planning Commission. B8A, the proposal is in conformance with the comp plan as follows. It is an existing building in an already fairly built out area. It respects the retention of the current building, and it has an efficiency to that. It inserts another building that is in compatible scale and use. It does not add an inordinate amount of traffic to an already trafficked street. It is also has been participated through the public. B6B, the design and planning of the site is compatible with location, setting, and existing uses on adjacent properties. It is an existing building. It fits in quite nicely. I don't think we see any issues with that. There is one condition in that the water, if it requires an added main, that will be on the owner's behest. B8C, the location, design, and size of the proposal are such that the developer will be adequately served by existing streets, public facilities, and services. They all exist. They're already servicing an existing building. C, or in conclusion, the Planning Commission, pursuant to the aforementioned, finds the request of Ryan Bishop for special use permit as described in the application should be approved. And as we said, the special conditions applied for water, any additional main extensions and or fire hydrants and services will be the responsibility of the developer at their expense. In addition, any additional service will have cap fees due and building permit.
Thank you, Commissioner Fleming. I have a first by Commissioner Fleming. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Lutroop. Roll call. Shannon, please.
Fleming,
Yes.
Ingalls,
Yes.
Lutrip,
Yes.
Mandel.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Congratulations. Good luck. Thank you. If there's nothing else, I'll ask for a simple motion to adjourn.
I would like to make that motion, but I would also like to speak to the motion. So I move adjournment, but the opportunity to speak to the motion.
Okay.
And what I like to say is, I like your colors,
My what?
your shirt.
Oh,
Wow, and that reminds me, today is Bastille Day, which I think, so we're sort of, Coeur d'Alene, I say, Vive la France.
okay.
I say, où est la bibliothèque? Pernod,
Okay.
move for adjournment.
Thank you, Peter. I appreciate it. I look forward to the end of the meetings with Peter because we never quite know what kind of information we're going to receive, but it's always enjoyable. Thank you. I look forward to it each meeting.
Second that motion.
I have a second. All in favor to adjourn?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank you. And good evening, everyone.
Thank you. Good
Good night.
Thank-